What's going on, guys? Today I want to go over one of the things I see a lot of young engineers overlook, which is how to find the tempo for their instrumental and how to lock it to grid in Pro Tools. All right, today we're going to go over how to find the tempo for an instrumental and how to set it to grid in Pro Tools. It's a big step that I see a lot of beginning engineers overlook, and one that, if done at the beginning of every session, can greatly increase your speed and efficiency. Now, I know there are a lot of different methods that people use in order to identify the tempo for a beat. Some people use third-party applications like Mixed and Key. Others use Beat Detective. Some people use Tap the Tempo. But the method I'm going to be showing you today is called Identify Beat, and it's built right into Pro Tools. All right, so let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is come up to the very top ruler, right-click it, and make sure that the checkbox next to bars and beats is selected. I also like to have minutes and seconds as an additional ruler, but whichever ruler is selected is going to become your main time scale, and your grid lines are going to follow that. So you want to make sure it's bars and beats. I also like to select the tempo ruler. It allows me to see the changes I'm making right here in the edit window. But it also shows us, if you take a look, that all new sessions in Pro Tools default to 120 BPMs. Now, in a perfect world, if the producer or beat maker was present, they could give you the exact tempo of the track. You could pop that in. Sometimes the producer will put the tempo on the file name itself, but a lot of the times you're going to be left to fend for yourself. So I'm going to show you how to use Identify Beat to find the tempo for the track and to easily map it to grid. Now, if you take a look, I already imported a beat into Pro Tools, both in WAV and MP3 format. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to show you what happens when you're dealing with MP3 encoded files. If you look at the beginning, you'll notice that there's always this little blank space. Now, this is the exact same beat. The only difference is the one at the top is WAV, the one at the bottom is the MP3. When you're dealing with MP3 files, you want to strip that silence right up to that very first transient. Trust me, if you do this, it's going to save you a lot of headaches. I know a lot of artists are only getting MP3 2 tracks from producers. Sometimes they're only downloading their tracks from online. A lot of people get their beats from YouTube, and most of the time you'll be dealing with MP3 files, so you want to make sure to remove that space to avoid any problems in the future. All right, so the way that we go about doing this, we're going to create a unique clip. It can be any bar count in length. I tend to use the very beginning of the song, starting from bar 1, beat 1, up until the very first drop. I found on average in hip hop that tends to be anywhere from 4 bars to 8 bars in length. I'll then break that selection and create a unique clip, and that's what I'll use to find the tempo for the beat. Let's go ahead and take a listen. Just count along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. All right, so if you were counting along with me, you would notice that that intro piece is 4 bars in length up to the very first kick drum. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a unique clip by breaking the intro piece away from the original file. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to zoom in, get right up on that kick drum with our I tool, or what's better known as the selector tool, and we're going to use the command B to break this clip. You want to make sure that your AZ button is selected in the top right-hand corner, and then you're going to go ahead and hit B. It's going to break the clip, double click, and now we have a selection ready for Identify Beat. Now, there are a couple different ways you can get the Identify Beat dialog box to pop up. You can easily go up to the event drop-down menu and select Identify Beat, or you can use Command I. Now, this is a pretty easy dialog box to understand and get familiar with. It has 2 sections, both a start and end section, which include 2 parameters each, both a location and time signature. Now, if you take a look, you'll notice that the time signature in both the start and end section defaults to 4/4. When you're dealing with popular music, hip-hop, R&B, electronic music, majority of it tends to be in 4/4. So we're going to go ahead and just ignore that for the moment and leave the time signature as it is. The only thing that we're going to concern ourselves with right now is the start location and the end location. Now, I know I started at the beginning of the record, so I'm starting on bar 1, beat 1. We counted out 4 bars of music, so we're ending on bar 5, beat 1. Now, this is where people tend to get this a little confused. They think because they have a 4-bar loop that the end location is bar 4, beat 1, when in actuality it's bar 5, beat 1. So the main thing is you want to make sure that you're getting your end location proper regardless of how long your clip is. So I'm going to go ahead and put in bar 5, beat 1, and I'm going to leave the time signature alone. Now, once I click OK, Pro Tools is going to give me my tempo for the selection, and it's also going to adjust the grid lines to match that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press OK and see what our results are. All right, so based on the parameters and all the information that we gave Pro Tools about the clip, it is telling us the tempo for this track is 65.0059 BPMs. Now, the reason why we're getting this long decimal place of an answer is simply because it's very difficult for us to highlight and select the perfect loop. So we just got to use our brain a little bit and realize that a lot of the music that we'll be working with has a consistent tempo and it's going to be even most of the time. So anywhere from 65 or 65.5, because a lot of producers are producing their tracks in double time, seeing a 0.5 is very common. Now, I personally don't like to see the break in the track, so I use the trim tool like I just did to kind of get rid of that. We're going to double click the entire track. We're going to go up to Event, Tempo Operations, Constant, and what we're going to do is we're going to round this number down to an even 65. Now, what happens if you don't do this is over time, the tempo is going to start to fall off, whether it be in the middle or the end section, and it's going to kind of defeat the purpose of everything we've done here. So I'm going to go ahead and click Apply, and you'll notice in the top left corner that the tempo now changes from 65.0059 to 65 even. Now our track should stay completely in sync the entire way through. Now, my tempo has been round down. It's 65 even. I can close out this dialog box, and there's a really easy way that I can go about checking our work. All we have to do is go up to the track drop-down menu, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit Create Click Track. And what that's going to do is going to make us a metronome that we can go ahead and listen to and make sure it's in sync at both the beginning, the middle, and the end. If it stays completely in sync the entire way through, that means we have the proper tempo for our track and we are good to start working. Alright, this has been my first YouTube tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe for me. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these in the future, covering material that I wish I knew when I first started out. It's been fun. Until the next time.